tingle, tingle, tingle. Yes. Hey, everybody. We blowing today. Welcome to another episode of She Ready to Bloom. Unfortunately, you stuck with just me again. Praise is out saving lives today, y'all. So, again, always acknowledging her in her absence, but you'll see her real soon. Sooner than you think. So, today, let's get started. What is our topic? Spin the block. Oh no. Girl, we are not spinning the block. We're going to park it because that season is over. No more spinning the block. Now we're going to go ahead and call a thing a thing. You've been thinking about spinning the block, but baby, as we would say, that street is full of potholes and expired promises. So today we're going to definitely talk about culture, closure, and clarity because we know we need those. And Kamiko do everything in threes. So culture, closure, clarity. That's what we're talking about. Because the truth of the matter is you can't rebloom in soil that God has already pulled you out of. Dead soil will not produce any seed. So if it had purpose, it would accomplish the purpose back then. So why do we keep trying to water what God has already let wither? So it's time to park it, pivot, and press forward. Because the bloom season don't come without a rearview mirror. So and just imagine you're driving your car, but you got a custom-made car that don't have a rearview mirror. Because the lives that we're living them forward. We not necessarily need to look back. So it's a wasted accessory, wasted feature in our new car. And then, we got to make sure we keep our alignment straight. So we can't afford to have potholes and ditches and hitting the curb all the time because we're always looking back. So we're truly in a season of living forward. No more spin the blocks. Baby, that block is closed. It's a dead end sign on there now. So it's to no return. And that's what we want to talk about today. Just having real talk, talking about culture, clarity, closure, all those things. Because a lot of times we feel like we need that. But in actuality, we already have what we need, but we're looking for something that really truly don't serve us anymore. So, as you already know, everything Kamiko does is in threes. So I got 3 points for you today. So for point number 1, everything familiar is not fruitful. Just because it feels familiar doesn't mean it's healthy. That spin the block culture will have you circling old situations that already drained your purpose. God isn't in the business of reruns. He's into redemption and redirection. So a lot of times we stick on things that are familiar because it's comfortable. I often tell people, especially when I'm mentoring young girls, one of the things I really try to focus in on when we catch them early on is that live on your own first. Have an experience that will teach you how to provide that stability that you need. Because oftentimes when young girls go from their parents' house to a man's house, they forfeit giving themselves the opportunity to know that they can do it on their own. And the reason why that scenario and that characteristics is truly so important is because we don't want them to get stuck in situations that they don't feel that they have the courage to walk away because they've never had to do it on their own. So sometimes that fear factor make us as young ladies and as women tolerate situations and circumstances way longer than we would have ever done had we had those fundamentals in place early on in life. Because a lot of times, and raising a 24-year-old daughter, I will say, and that was one of the things I often have to remind her, even, she's done a great job, but she's lived on her own 3 different times in 3 different states without a support system and being a single mom. So I'm ever so elated when I see her put a dead end sign instead of you can make a U-turn or a traffic circle at different points of her life because she's had the ability to learn. And it wasn't easy. I'm sure she would share if you asked her that her journey has definitely been far from easy, but every hard decision she made was one that was worth making because it taught her and it grew her. And it's the same thing that I want to share with you all today is understanding that we don't need to spin the block. There's no need for us spinning the block. There's no need for us to be on a repeated cycle of the same pattern of behavior, accepting the same things from different people that has the same characteristics as the people that were there before, and we never allow ourselves to grow, and we remain stagnant. But let's decree and declare that our spin the block season is over. It's no need to do that. And familiar is good because it's comfortable, but we don't live in a place of comfort. That's why we're here to bloom. We're blooming out of those familiar places that allow us to be comfortable being stagnant. So that is point number 1. Point number 2, closure is a choice, not a conversation. Waiting on closure will keep you stuck. Sis, closure doesn't always come with an apology or a full circle moment. Sometimes the clarity is the closure and your peace is the punctuation. So we always say, well, I want closure. I just need to know, I need to have this one conversation and I need to understand why that this person or that situation turned out the way that it did. But if we're honest with ourselves, even if that person told us, would we accept the answer? Would it change the outcome? And will we really feel better? Because every time someone gives you an answer, you're going to come up with another question to that answer. So is closure a real thing or not? Clarity, I get. Closure, not so much. Because clarity is the thing that truly gives us peace. That's why it's the punctuation. Period. The end. And clarity doesn't mean agreement. It just means understanding. I often tell people we listen to hear very rarely, but we always listen to respond. Why is that? If we listen to hear, that would give us a level of understanding. And long as I can understand you, I don't necessarily have to agree, but I know how to handle you after that point. And once I know how to handle you, I can get the clarity that I need, not only from the situation that we're in, but for myself to be better and to move forward and to move on. Because when we allow ourselves to just be on this repeated cycle of closure, it's not going to happen. I often tell people, I was going to say something petty, but I'm going to say it anyway. That closure that you use on that wig is the reason why we went from closures to frontals. Because that closure wasn't cutting it. It was too small. That 4x4 was not it. We needed something a little to stretch it. We need to stretch it. We need to, make sure that thing is right. But all jokes aside, it's literally a similar scenario if we look at it. Closure puts us in a box. But we want diversity. We want versatility. So we have to expand it. And that's where clarity comes in. So again, I just want to encourage you, let go of that whole closure concept. Redefine it and let closure be replaced with clarity. Help me understand why you did what you did, or what was it that I did that made you respond the way that you do. And then from there, we can put that thing to bed and let our peace be the punctuation, because we found peace and clarity. Which leads me to point number 3. Don't try to rebloom in soil God let die. If it didn't grow the first time, it probably wasn't meant to. When God removes something, it's not rejection, it's protection. Your destiny don't have time for dead cycles or second guessing. Park it and proceed. It's no way that you're going to dig up a flower, put it in another garden that nothing is growing from. Why would we try to rebloom in something that has already proven and has evident that everything around it is dead? So we have to learn how to break the cycle of thinking, I can make it better. I can make this person different. The potential of that person. We often fall in love with the potential of a person, but oftentimes that's not their reality, because it's what we see, not what others see. And that's in all areas of our lives, whether we're talking about relationally, financially, educationally, career-wise. We have to see certain things for ourselves in a more real time, not necessarily on all of the possibility. Options are good, I get that, but not every option is meant to be exploited by you. You have to understand that there are certain things that are assigned to you, and there are other things that are assigned to someone else. So when you're working on other people's assignment, you don't have room to complete your own assignment. So you have to make sure that your vetting process, the things that you're looking at, the things you're trying to weed off, things that are no longer serving you and are serving the season in which you're in, being willing to dig out your flower and replant it in something that's producing great soil. Because a lot of times I often tell people, nobody wants to feel like they're on this journey by themselves. So when we're reblooming, or when we're in a season of transformation, a season of growth, a season of figuring it out, it's not always the most perfect scenario, the most comfortable scenario, but it's the most needed. It's required. We have to understand in cycles. Everybody isn't meant to go with us to our next seasons. So when we see that our flower is draining, the petals are falling, it's not getting enough nutrition, enough sunlight, enough water for it to really blossom in the way that it should, those are our checkpoints that we need to replant ourselves. Replant ourselves in a space that will allow us to get all the nutrition that we need. And spinning the block don't cut it. If it was meant to grow in that season, it would have. You have to let go of the concept of that I put in all of this work for this person and now somebody else is going to reap the benefits. Guess what? Somebody had to do the same thing for you. And look at it as a blessing. Lord, I thank you that you chose me to help that person be a better version of themselves. Because in that, I also became a better version of myself. And it wasn't until I went through my different seasons of transformation that I can honestly say I started to see the value in leaving things better than the way that I found them. Was it fair? Was it just? All those things are subjective. Because when I also look at all the things I did gain, the things I sowed weren't the things that I reaped. And I was okay with that because one doesn't wash out the other. All of it is needed. Because what you provide, that person needs. And your takeaways are what you need. And they're not going to look the same. And you have to be okay with them not looking the same. So everybody really wins in the end. But it's not until you capture that mindset that you're winning, that all of your hard work wasn't in labor, your labor wasn't in vain, that you really did accomplish that in which your assignment was, that you can truly appreciate. Because I sit back and I marvel at the reality that, hey, I can look upon someone that was a part of my journey and I see them thriving. Whether the fact that they're thriving with someone else is irrelevant. It's the fact that they are a better version of themselves. And whether the lessons that they learned, good, bad, or indifferent, when we were connected, they took them and they used them to be the best version of themselves as well. And that's always a continuous cycle of all of us pouring in, pouring out, replenishing, replanting, blooming, and allowing ourselves to resurface again in every season, a better version of of ourselves than we were before. And that's what it is. So no more spinning the block, no more taking our seeds and putting them in unfertile ground. We're going to bloom in the right seasons, in the right place. I'm going to allow our peace to be the punctuation that we need, because clarity is really what we aim for, not closure. So before we go, I'll run through the 3 points one more time. Point 1, everything familiar isn't fruitful. Point 2, closure is a choice, not a conversation. And 3, don't try to rebloom in soil that God let die. So remember, sis, you don't need a round 2. You need a revelation. That chapter's in for a reason, and your purpose serves new soil and not in old cycles. Don't just move on, bloom on. If this episode spoke to your soul, pass it to a sister who's still parked in her past. Subscribe, like, and share, as we always say, because healing is the real glow up. And we don't have to do reruns in revival season. Until next time, let your standards remain high. Let your soul align. And let your boundaries continue to be a place of blessings. Because at the end of the day, the boundaries are going to help us be better. It's going to bless us in ways we've never allowed it to bless us. Our soul will find its alignment. And from that person, it will automatically make us raise our standard. So, again, all of these things we all need, because we're not going to be planted in dead soil anymore. We're going to make sure that we're planting the right seeds in the right soil at the right time. And in all that, and through all of that, at the end, we'll bloom. Go bloom.